No one has the balls to stand up like I'm doing right now. Stop the crap already. We're all Americans. We're all equal. I don't see black. I don't see Asian. I don't see anything but American.
Welcome to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. I've been away. It seems like I've been on vacation for the whole month of December, and I'm back in New York, back working again, and I'm ready to head out to Washington, D.C. I'm going to be going on the Amtrak Excella and be staying at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration of our great president, President Trump. I have an official invitation from him, and I'm really excited about going. And this is the beginning of something really great, I believe, for our country and for everyone. Not a Republican, Democrat, it's for everyone. So what happened the other night is something I'd like to share with you. So I was at Campanola with a couple of my friends having dinner, and all of a sudden I see this young man come in, and I've never met him now. I recognize him from TV, and he was the Marine, the hero Marine that was on the subway when a person was telling everybody he's going to kill everybody, and he took action. He grabbed them into a chokehold, headlock, whatever you want to call it, and then the man died, which we don't really support anybody dying, but he took action. He was a real hero. Everyone was frightened. Other people helped, jumped in. And Daniel Perry, he came walking into Campanola restaurant, and I saw him, and immediately Dr. O'Brien, my friend from special surgery, was with me. He recognized him immediately. He came in with his girlfriend, beautiful young lady with him. And we went over, we introduced ourselves, and we told him what we felt as though, you know, he was a real American hero, and thank you for your service with the United States Marine Corps. So then he sat down with his girlfriend, and of course, Dr. O'Brien, we picked up his check for his dinner. We were honored. Now we're leaving, and this gentleman come running over after that. Just shows you the how wonderful a person he is. Really unpretentious, quiet young man. Whoa, soft-spoken, and he thanked us so much. But it was really a great thrill to meet him, and I actually said to him, if you need a job or anything, just give me a call. I gave him my card. That was a really great night. So let's start right in what's going on in the city and the country. So first off, let's be talking about the MTA, really financial disaster. I mean, they wasted $250 million on subway intercoms that didn't work, money that equals the first year revenue from congestion pricing. The Inspector General exposed the waste, but there was no reforms followed. The MTA outstanding debt rose from about $400 million in 2010 to $42 billion in 2023. To a projected, let's get this now, $59.9 billion in 2028 with no kind of accountability. They just take on jobs, they over leverage themselves, and it just goes on. The MTA was created back in 1965 by Governor Nelson Rockefeller to control what was going on with the transit failures. But it seems like it's a disaster, and it's continually to go into the hole. The massive borrowing and overspending, it's all these vanity projects, union deals, bloated budgets. The solution on the MTA's debit crisis is congestion pricing. That's a complete joke. Hinting that the drivers are going to pay for all their problems. How about we start from the beginning? This idiot that's heading up the MTA, I call him big ear, Dumbo he is, I call him. His name is Chairman Jano Lieber, complete moron. He makes $400,000 a year, and he comes out with the most stupidest statements, like he has news conference about how safe the subways are. Really? I'd like to see you, big ears, MTA Chairman Jano. Why don't you travel the subways by yourself without any security? Try traveling on the trains. This is ridiculous. Now also, you know, President Trump has hinted he wants to fix the transit, possibly using private sector help. I tell you what, if you put a private concern in charge of the MTA, you'd get a lot more bang for your buck. Seems as though all these government-issued whoever's running these systems and all that, when the government ran, waste is all over the place. And the big part also is the problems with the wireless in the subway. Look at Elon Musk has this what is that called? Starlink technology. Yeah. We could have communications there. This is all solvable things, and it's ridiculous. We need a better security, and we have to have outreach programs. This is not something that people who are mentally ill, they're not all criminals, but they're mentally ill, and they could be a danger to themselves, but most of all, they could be a danger to the people that are traveling. Fare evasion, that's another one. It's costing $119 million every year. And they took a study of what psychologically the fare beat is thinking. I mean, really? It's very simple. They're trying to get away without paying, dingbats. And then the New York Times exposed how the union deals are bloated and how the costs are being translated. And the construction costs, listen to this one, check it out. They bid on something, then it goes up 5 times once they start the project. This is the problem. Waste. No one is answering to anyone, and that's why the MTA is a total disaster. And it's unbelievable. Again, the big problem is the first thing I would do is fire this MTA chairman, Jan Oliva. When he came on the TV and he was talking about how safe this subway is, I really, really believe he should be fired immediately for mismanagement. You had some of the issues that occurred there, prior arrests, mental illness. 87, there's one jerk was locked up 87 times, and he was locked up for stabbing 2 more people. Last week, he stabbed the 31-year-old man in the back on the 2 train on 14th Street. Last Thursday, another he's suspected in knifing an off-duty MTA cleaner. This goes on and on, but there's no recourse. These people are not being called upon as far as to be incarcerated for their own safety. Also, we all remember, I was away when it happened, that female rider that was set on fire and burnt alive in December. But somehow, Dumbo Biggie's Lieber claims the system is overall safe. I don't know what planet he's on, and it's being court. Now, also with these crime numbers, look, I used to be a detective. I was a New York City detective. I know what goes on with these manipulated numbers. Now, part of the numbers that are in there and these grand larcenies, I'm laughing because what's lumped in there is grand larceny of stolen autos. I have not seen lately a car being stolen out of the subway, but yet that's a number. Also, the felonies assaults. The majority of these felony assaults in the subway, you know what they are? They're assaults on police officers. Whenever you assault a police officer, it's a felony in the 2nd degree. And then mostly from people who are assaulting police officers. Also, we got to jump right back to the sanctuary laws and these undocumented people that are on the subway committing crimes, running away. Nobody gets locked up because we haven't been able to identify them. And, when Tom Homan, the new border czar for Trump, he was talking about how safe the subway crime was. And he says, Tom Homan, a really good friend of mine for a lot of years, and he came out and it's ridiculous. And as long as these sanctuary laws continue, where we're not turning these criminal elements over to ICE, we're going to have more and more crime on the subway. Now, Governor Hochul, she deploys the National Guard. If they're so safe in the subway, what do we need the National Guard? Now, all of a sudden, everyone's claiming crime is down. That's bullshit. Crime is not down. And it is not perception, Mayor Eric Adams. It's not perception. It's fact. Crime is not down. And people's fear from traveling on the subway is always there. And then now all of a sudden, Hochul, the governor, comes to writing and says, subway violence, is it making it it's all about the mentally ill. That's what she's saying. But if it's about the mentally ill, we have to deal with it. Again, for the mentally ill person and also for the riders that are being affected by these mentally ill. And she's trying to come with new bills. She's really late to the party here. This has been going on with the mentally ill for years and years, and nothing has been done with it. And now all of a sudden we have to deal with it. And it's horrendous that this is what's going on. And Hochul, she keeps making these announcements. I'd like to see you, Governor. I have a question for you. Why don't you try and travel on a subway train by yourself without all your state troopers around you? Let's see you travel. Try that A line right up to Harlem. Let me see you travel on there, and you wouldn't be sitting there talking this baloney the way you're talking, how safe it is. And, you know, it just keeps going on and on. And it's just... We have this law that came in, Kenra's law, and it's this was the woman, a 32-year-old rider, if you remember, was pushed in front of a train. It goes on and on and on. Clearly, the bail reform's at problem here. But yet, when I spoke to you, if you remember, Governor, I spoke to you at a fundraiser. I gave you $5,000 at your fundraiser, and I said to you, "Could I talk to you?" And your husband was there, a gentleman. He's a former AUSA from Washington, D.C., really a gentleman, good man. He knew who I was. And I said, "I'd like to talk to your wife." So I said, "Ms. Governor, you're the chief executive of New York State. Why don't you, as the chief executive, make an executive law stating anyone who is arrested committing a felony and is illegal in this country will be turned over to ICE? You could do that as an executive order. I can't say show me your balls because you don't have balls, but show me your gumption, Miss Governor, and that could be a good start. Also, we're talking about with the bail reform. It goes on and on with the repeat offenders, knife violence, and on and on and on. And we just are not stopping the criminal element from committing more and more crimes. And it's just the repeat offenders are outrageous. A guy arrested 87 times. And it's just out. So what do we do next with that? Yeah. I mean, and what we have is now we have the problems with the police department. We're going to get into that in a second. I love the police department. And, with these anti-cop laws passed in 2020 by the leftist city council, the chokehold ban. Again, I effected the arrest of, I think, 1,600. I had a fight with them. I never killed anybody. I used a headlock 100 times or more. Nobody died. And then not just a choke, they call it a chokehold. It's not a chokehold. A headlock's a headlock. And we have to disseminate what the difference is. Also, on top of it, you're not allowed to climb on top of someone. All I could say is I want someone to show me how you could handcuff somebody on the ground, rear cuff them without getting on top of them. Unless you have leverage where you can levitate 6 foot above them, it's ridiculous. And now all of a sudden, like I said, this diaphragm law, and it's something where the cops are so handcuffed, and the only ones that have any rights now are the criminal element. Because I've seen it before. If a cop is effecting an arrest and he has to grab a guy and he's fighting with him, the guy's resisting, and you get him into a headlock, what they'll do is that the DA's office, and somebody will make a videotape, they'll release the criminal to testify against the cop for putting me into the headlock. This is what cops are facing. And they wonder why. They wonder why they're losing cops so much. We're at one of the lowest points of our police right now. And right now, cops are being attacked by criminals. They're overworked. And then all of a sudden now it's actually going out there where relatives of police officers are telling people, don't take the police test. Don't start. We got to remember, the New York City cops start in New York City at let me just see what that is. The new cops are starting pay about $45,000. Excuse me, they brought them up a little bit. They're starting at $53,000, and all it is one thing after another. And now Mayor Adams pledged 1,600 new cops. Only problem is 1,600 jobs, but they're not getting enough applicants. They used to get 20,000 applicants. Now it's under 8,000 applicants. Now they're saying basically 1 out of 10 will qualify out of these applicants. The math don't add up. You're not going to get the cops that you need. One thing immediately. Where is the $1 billion that this moron city council took away from the police department? That's the first thing that should happen. That should be reinstated, that $1 billion. And the salaries of cops should be brought up. It's a very important job. It's a professional job, and it's ridiculous. And let's face what's going on. The NYPD's in turmoil. Let's just face it. We had 3 different police commissioners less than a year. There have been federal probes of top-ranking police officers. Look at this guy, Madry, this bag of crap. All of a sudden, he's the chief of the department. And that woman from Nassau County, Keyshawn, she wanted to fire him, but the mayor wouldn't let him. This guy is this disgusting representative of the police department. And now all this sexual escapades come out. This is horrible. I'm embarrassed about being a former New York City cop. That my friend Eddie Caban, I was with him the other night. I love Eddie Caban. He was forced to retire by the mayor. Seems as though the mayor, and then James Dolan, he came in there for about 1 month he lasted. He left. And I tell you what, I saw Jessica Tisch, the commissioner, the other night. I know her a long time. Her dad used to come to Rayo's with me. We used to have dinner. Her dad and his brother used to have dinner at Rayo's with me in the 70s. And she's doing a great job of getting rid of all the garbage. The head of the internal affairs got rid of him. This one, Pearson. All of a sudden, Banks, the Chancellor Banks, the chief of staff. Why are all these people being asked to leave? This seems a little suspicious to Detective Bo. It seems like all the people underneath the mayor are being asked to leave. And I don't like the way it looks. And now all of a sudden word just came out. Word just came out that there are more charges pending against the mayor for crimes. Bo Dietl has a good idea where it's going to go here. But I'm going to tell you something right now. You got to remember that Deputy Commissioner Tarak Shepard, all these staff members are going. Now, the poor people, the rank and file guys on the street, they're the ones that suffer day to day, being spat upon, being assaulted by people. Here's a big one. Thank God for President Trump. That's all I say. You know what? He can really change the direction of people's feelings against the police. This whole George Floyd effect and how nobody was prosecuted for committing arsons, burning cars, assaulting people, robberies. Nobody was prosecuted. And to some instance, people were actually awarded money on lawsuits against the police officers. But I think the golden night is here. I know Donald Trump 40 years, and put it this way, I really believe there's going to be a change in the air upon his inauguration. And I'll be there. I'm going down there in the Excella, if the Excella line doesn't break down, and I'll be standing there when President Trump gets sworn in. I'm very, very proud. I know I've said things over the years. I am 1,000,000% in back of President Trump. And if he calls upon me to help him any shape or form, I will be there. We're talking about what's going on. Let's just see what happened a couple of weeks ago. This President Biden, who doesn't even know where he is, he actually gave the Medal of Freedom, one of the highest medals in the country, to this piece of garbage, fat Hungarian fool, George Soros. This is the one person who's been more responsible for the attacks against police officers, the attacks against any good law-abiding citizens. He put these jerks, including Bragg, into office as district attorneys, where the criminals are the ones that get the support. The cops don't. I mean, I don't even know if Biden had a clue who he was giving this Medal of Freedom to. I mean, it's just gone and gone. Even my friend, the great Commissioner Ray Kelly, who I talked to only last week, Ray Kelly said that this is a disgrace what they're doing with him. Now, all of a sudden, we find out, finally, because here's the whole story, if people can recognize what was going on. The Justice Department and the FBI were being controlled by all these deep state liberals. Now, all of a sudden, it comes out, we knew where COVID came from. It came from that lab, and Fauci knew all about it. Now, all of a sudden, we find out that CIA people were covering it up when they knew it was coming from that lab. Now it's all coming out. The hearings will begin, and let's let the truth come out. And there'll be no cover-ups thanks to President Trump. And he's putting important people in there where we can take the peel off this orange and see the disgrace that went on with allegations and all that kind of stuff. All these bribery allegations. These were CIA people. The cover-ups continue. The Wuhan lab. They killed Americans. This was an attack on America. And China, should we owe China money? President Trump, we should tell them, we don't know where you got. We should have them founded. We owe them $1 trillion. Tell them, we're not paying you because of all the Americans that you killed with that lab that you had with this phony bat bullshit. Gets me really mad. And Fauci, you should be locked up. You testified before the House of Representatives subcommittees and the Senate. You lie. You're a liar. You should be prosecuted. Now's the time. Now's the time with this new president bringing in a new Justice Department. Now is the time when we should go after all these lies, including the lie with the FBI about President Trump being a Soviet spy and all these dossiers. Let's start opening this up. Trump didn't get a chance in 2020. Why? I'll say it, okay? I believe that this election in 2020 was stolen, okay? I'm going to say it. So you want to sue me, sue me. That's my belief. You can't take out of my head what I don't believe, okay? And I've never seen an election in my lifetime that stopped counting votes at midnight. All of a sudden, panel trucks show up with more votes, absentee votes. These are non-verifiable. Oh, they could have probably had 100 million more votes. Ridiculous. Now the time has come home to roost. We're going to open this up. Investigations in the House and in the Senate. Let's show the culprit with all the lying and all that. Now let's get to one other topic. With this diversity and all this crap, all of a sudden we're realizing that's not the way we're supposed to be going. And on top of it, transgenders, I call them transformers and all that stuff. I don't mean to be facetious, but let's be real about it. They make up 0.5%, but yet they control so much of the news media. Also, a lot of people don't know when these children are given these medications to become a man or woman, all that. Children, they're given these medications. 50% of these transgenders either attempt suicide or commit suicide. This is a mental thing that really wrecks their brains. And nobody's talking about this. All we like to do is, let's let that little boy who's 7 years old become a girl. Let that little girl become a... No. Let's start to realize what the after effect. Remember there was a shooting in, I think it was Virginia, where this transgender, whatever the heck it was, shot up, killed 3 kids and 3 teachers. And then all of a sudden she left behind a dossier there of why he or she, whatever it was, did it. It was never released. You know why? It was a cover-up again. I want to know everything. I want complete exposure of all these investigations. It's something that I'm a grandfather, and I'm going to be a grandfather again. I'm good fortune of having another grandchild. My point is that I'm at a point in my life where I do this podcast for a reason, to expose all this crap and talk where no one can tell me, Bo, you can't say this, you can't say it. I will say it, and I can continue to do my podcast and tell the truth. You have to know what the heck is going on. And the only good thing that's going to happen is the cavalry has come now. President Trump will start investigations with the Justice Department. Pam Bondi, friend of mine, one of the best people we can have over there. And I just hope And I pray that all these people get admitted into the cabinet, and the first order of business is start these investigations. Let's start from 2016 with Hillary Clinton to 30,000 emails destroyed. That's destroying evidence. Let's reopen this scab. You know what? No bygones be bygones. You made this man, Donald Trump, besides all these baloney investigations that no one else would do, you went after him every way you could. On top of that, he got shot at. If you don't turn his head, Donald Trump is dead. On top of it, somebody else tried to kill him. On top of it, there's plots by the Iranian government to kill President Trump. I want to see these. I want no more hidden stuff. No more CIA telling the president what to do. You're the guys in the CIA. You work for the president. You don't make decisions. The president makes the decision. How dare you make decisions of not to release this information about COVID coming out of that friggin' lab down there? And Fauci, you lying son of a gun, you should be prosecuted. And all these poor people, American people that died, China did it to us, and we can't forget. We owe $1 trillion? Bye-bye, dickhead. I wouldn't pay you a dime, China. And if you don't like it, go eat a bowl of rice, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I'm sorry for getting upset like this, but there's so many issues, and it's been so long since I did my podcast. I don't know how long I'm in it already. I don't know how much time I've been talking already, but I'll tell you the truth. Each week we're going to be discussing more and more of the issues. And again, please tell your friends to tune in to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. I'm not afraid. If you want to send me emails to look at things, I'll look at things. I'll take the peel off the orange, and I'll look into anything. And again, I'm not afraid of anyone. And there's more to come in this city with this corruption. It was the perfect storm. Let all these migrants come into New York City. Great cover-up. No big contracts for everything. Oh, who cares how much you're charging? It was a perfect cover for corruption to be at the maximum. And you're hear from me right now. I will guarantee you this is going to be the biggest corruption scandal of New York ever saw. This is a complete disaster. And I'm going to tell you something right now. You'll say, Bo said it, and I'm saying it right now. This boil is about to pop on this corruption in New York. Every aspect, every bit of it, with all these phony, graft-taking son of a guns. All right, that's enough for this week. But I want you guys to stay tuned. I will be back next week before I go to the election of our great president, Donald Trump. And there's more to come, and you'll see more. And again, anything you want to contact me about, please do, and I'll talk about anything. And I'm not afraid of anyone. And you want to know something? I hold my head up high. I could have become a very rich person if I would have went along with corruption in this city. But no, I could sleep at night because I never did any work for this city. Till next week, Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Join me.